What if a single day could redefine the course of history? Would you believe it? Imagine awakening to the promise of an ordinary day, only to have it morph into a day of disbelief, a day of sorrow, a day that would forever alter the world's landscape. This was not a day marked by a natural catastrophe, nor was it a day of celebrated discovery. Instead, it was a day drenched in the shadows of humanity's darkest impulses. September 11, 2001 started as an ordinary Tuesday morning. People were going about their regular routines, oblivious to the grim reality that was about to unfold. Suddenly, the mundane was replaced by the unimaginable, as a series of orchestrated attacks shook the very foundations of freedom and security. The world watched in stunned silence as the horrific events of that morning unfolded, forever changing our perception of the world. September 11, 2001, a day that remains etched in the memory of the world. Imagine waking up to a beautiful morning only to see it turn into an unimaginable nightmare. It was a regular Tuesday morning, the 11th day of September 2001. 4 commercial airliners full of unsuspecting passengers were hijacked mid-air by 19 members of the extremist group, Al-Qaeda. American Airlines Flight 11 was the first, taken over just 15 minutes after takeoff. At 8:46 a.m., it crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center, tearing a gaping hole in the building and setting it ablaze. The world stood still, watching in shock and confusion, assuming it to be a tragic accident. But it was no accident. United Airlines Flight 175, seized around the same time as the first, hit the South Tower at 9:03 a.m. A horrific realization dawned upon us. These were deliberate attacks. Simultaneously, a third plane, American Airlines Flight 77, was commandeered and directed towards the Pentagon, the heart of the United States military power. At 9:37 a.m., it too was turned into a weapon of mass destruction, causing a massive fire and partial collapse of the building. While chaos ensued on the ground, the passengers of United Airlines Flight 93, the 4th hijacked plane, were piecing together the terror unfolding across the country. In an act of unparalleled bravery, they fought back, disrupting the hijackers' plans. The plane crashed into a field in Pennsylvania at 10:03 a.m., its intended target never reached. Then, at 9:59 a.m., less than an hour after the second impact, the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapsed. The North Tower followed shortly after at 10:28 a.m. Each collapse sent a cloud of ash and debris billowing through the streets of Manhattan, marking the end of an era. In just a matter of hours, thousands of lives were lost, and the skyline of New York City was changed forever. A day that started like any other had become one of the darkest days in modern history, a chronology of tragedy forever etched in our collective memory. Behind every act of terror, there are faces hidden in the shadows. And in the case of the September 11th attacks, those faces belong to Al-Qaeda. This extremist group, under the leadership of Osama bin Laden, orchestrated this devastating event that shook the world to its core. Motivated by a distorted interpretation of Islam and an intense disdain for American foreign policy, Al-Qaeda sought to strike at the heart of the United States, aiming to create chaos and fear. The group's complex network and secretive operations made it a formidable foe. In the aftermath of the attacks, a worldwide manhunt was launched to bring Osama bin Laden to justice. This manhunt spanned over a decade, culminating in the eventual demise of the Al-Qaeda leader. The September 11th attacks were not just an act of senseless violence. They were the result of calculated planning and execution by a group with a deadly agenda. The face of terror had a name, and it was Al-Qaeda. When the dust settled, a new world emerged from the ashes. The devastating events of 9/11 set in motion a series of transformations that reverberate to the present day. It was a new era where security measures, be it at airports or public places, were heightened to an unprecedented level. The world saw the birth of a relentless war on terror, a global campaign led by the United States, aiming to dismantle terrorist organizations and bring justice to those who had fallen. The geopolitical landscape shifted dramatically, with nations around the globe uniting against the common enemy of terrorism. The world's focus turned towards the Middle East, with the pursuit of Al-Qaeda leading to wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The world as we knew it was changed forever, and the echoes of that day still resonate, shaping our present and our future. It's a stark reminder that history is not just about the past, but a guiding light for our journey ahead.